You posted a very powerful video on your social media platforms last week stating that you were leaving Liberty University. So obviously the big question is, why did you feel that it was time to leave Liberty after your freshman year?
Yeah, great question. This decision was a hard decision. I'm not gonna lie. This decision was definitely hard. It was definitely thought out thoroughly with my family and just people that I really look up closely to. It was made with a lot of prayer and just asking God, like, hey, look, is this what you want from me? Because I thought Liberty was a place for me. I didn't plan to go to Liberty to transfer after 1 year. Like, I like stability, but I felt like it was what was best due to like what I believe in and what I believe is right. And as a person of color and as a student athlete, I want to feel valued and feel like I belong in the system, outside of the system. And that's why I feel like that was the best decision for me.
I know in
And
part, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
and this decision also had nothing to do with basketball. Like had nothing to do with the program, the teammates, or the coaching staff. It simply wasn't a basketball decision. It was more of like what I felt will be best for me and what I stand for and believe in.
I know part of the video you mentioned racial insensitivities, I believe. Obviously, that does not mean it was one thing. Seemed like it was multiple things that led to this decision. What was the breaking point? What was, in your eyes, in your estimation, was the last straw in making the decision?
Yeah, and I feel like it was definitely a compound of issues, but definitely the last straw happened about 2 weeks ago. And I'm pretty sure if people want to do their research on what exactly transpired, they can do just that. But definitely what transpired about 2 weeks ago from the leader, it definitely was like, okay, this is it. Enough is enough. And that's some things you can tolerate. Some things I can tolerate, and there's some things that I can't tolerate. Like I know there's always going to be problems everywhere. And racism is just not one of those things that I can tolerate.
During your time at Liberty, did you personally deal with racism?
Personally, no. I've met wonderful people there at Liberty. There was great people there that really loved and cared for all people, no matter where they come from or what they look like. But I do know some friends that has dealt with some issues, and I don't really want to go into depth about that, but I do know some of my football friends and other friends that look like me has dealt with some issues.
Totally understand that. After you made the decision, after you made the video and you went to sleep that night, did you wake up the next morning feeling at peace with your decision? Or at times you kind of second guessing the decision, or once it was made, it was made?
Yeah, definitely. The hardest part was making that decision, like making sure I wanted to make sure I was at peace before I made that life-changing decision. I didn't want to go into it like, well, I don't really know if I should or if this is right. Like no, I wanted to be 100% sure, already at peace before I made that official decision to leave Liberty.
You mentioned this was not a basketball decision.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I'm assuming you were very close with your teammates, very close with the coaching staff. Grew a sisterhood there. What was the response like from now your former teammates and former coaches about the decision to leave Liberty?
Yeah, so my coaches, they tried their best to try to get me to stay. They definitely did not want me to leave, and I felt like it was genuine that they really wanted to see me blossom all 4 years and that they wanted to be a part of that growth and development, not just on the court, but off the court. So I definitely feel like they took it pretty well. They definitely still didn't want me to leave. As far as teammates go, I feel like they support me either way. Like I know a lot of them has reached out and like, Asia, I fully respect your decision and support you 100%.
Are you normally the type of person that expresses her feelings and not, biting her tongue or sugarcoating how you feel about something that you know is wrong, and you're going to speak up on it?
Definitely, definitely just grew up speaking up. Like I had a bad habit of just growing up speaking whatever's on my mind. So my parents really had to like cultivate me to learn how to express those things, doing it in the right way. So I can definitely attest to the fact that that's something that I've always been pretty vocal.
How has your family given, what's the response from them in
Yeah,
regards to
so
the decision?
when I first brought him up, like, hey, look, I wasn't even 100% sure. I was like, hey, look, I'm thinking about transferring, but I'm just really not sure. And my dad was like, okay, and my parents, they both were like, hey, look, we just need to weigh out the pros and cons because they didn't want this to be an emotional type decision. They wanted to be thorough and 100% before I make this final decision. So my dad, he fully supported it. My mom, she definitely supported it, but she likes to be the one that's like, are you sure, Asia? You know, you don't want to go into, are you sure you want to go into a new system? So she's definitely that person that tries to weigh out the pros and cons, but at the end of the day, they both definitely still supported it.
We hear a lot about athletes, or especially college basketball players, entering the portal for basketball reasons, and it's not that big of a story. But I guess your decision to leave has made this a national story. Have you even been surprised by the reaction nationally about your decision to transfer?
Yes, I was surprised. I didn't really expect it to make like national news, but I just pray that my decision can help influence other people that may find themselves in like similar situations, or it doesn't even have to be educational wise, like institution or basketball wise, but if they're like on their job or just other situations, that they have the courage to not just also always just leave the situation, but just have the courage to speak out and just break the code of silence.
As you now enter the second stage, as far as being re-recruited by schools, obviously, I would hear, a lot of historically Black colleges and universities would go out and try to recruit you. How has that been in regards to now new schools looking to bring you to their program? And what will you look for in your new program once you make your decision?
Yeah, so right now I'm definitely just trying to learn about different programs and soon definitely narrowing down the decision. I don't want to say I just want to go to this type of school or that type of school. I just want to go to the school that I feel is best fit for me, not just on the court, but also off the court and educational wise. And definitely finding a school or institution that's like culturally sensitive and just love all of humanity.
Would you be opposed to going to an HBCU?
I'm not opposed to it, no.
Mhm. Somewhere probably in state, maybe.
I haven't really decided that, so
I
I'm
got
just, yeah.
it. What do you hope people, not only in your area but across the country, what message do you hope people get from this decision? How thorough how thorough you took the time in making this decision, and like I said, how powerful the message was on the video, and also the T-shirt that you wore when you made the video.
Definitely, and that's definitely a great question. I just want the video, not even just the video, but my story and the reasons why, just to encourage people to just break that code of silence, to have the faith and the power that they find within themselves and their heart to just step out on faith. Because right now, making that decision, I didn't know what next looked like. But there's some things that, like I said before, I could tolerate and I couldn't tolerate, and I just want this to show like people that's in leadership to be held to a higher standard and to exemplify racial unity and not racial insensitivity.
I forgot to ask this question. With the protests that took place after the death of George Floyd, um, did that kind of like intertwine when thinking about this decision to transfer, what you were going through at Liberty, plus what happened with him and the aftermath?
Yeah, what happened to George Floyd was definitely devastating to see and even watch. I can say, even if George Floyd's situation didn't transpire and what was done that drew the line for me, I feel like I would still be in the same place that I am now. But I can say it did have some influence on making my decision.